This is a review for the Chogokin Charming Fireball Drossel from Bandai. I bought this off eBay for around $120, but you could get it from places like Big Bad Toy Store for around $130 plus shipping. In this set, we have first of all the Drossel figure itself in the new Fireball style. I mean, we'll have a look at that later, but I really love the new super hips. We have these little things here, which are stands to help her stand up if you want to pose her without the base. Then 1, 2, 3 little clip-on wheels that represent the wheels that pop out of her legs and head for her vehicle mode when she flips over backwards and drives around in the show. We have an alternate head, 10 extra sets of hands, so that's 12 hands altogether when you add them to the hands that she's wearing here. A practicing sword / walking stick, depending on how you like it. 2 claws for the robot arm that help her attach to the base, and a purple rose in some kind of biohazard container. And the base itself. So now I'll take these out and we'll go over them one by one. The figure of Drossel herself is beautiful to look at. I mean, I don't know if you can see the reflection in those eyes. Let's try and move that. It almost comes alive. When it can catch the light, you get that blue light shining back at you. Almost as good as having an LED feature. There is no battery operated feature in this, but it comes close to achieving the same result. If you look at the lines on this toy, it looks like a futuristic industrial design. This is exactly how I would imagine a robot, a sentient robot in the far off future would look like. The seams where the plates join together. It's deceptively simple, but when you start to pose it, you can really see that each part perfectly fits together. The double jointed knees, look at that. The hips are on ball joints. No ratchet, but a reasonably tight ball. Around the edge of each ball is a fake rubber piston, so it gives the look of pistons doing the work of moving the leg. I like to see the inner workings like that. It's those little details that separate these Chogokins from your average kid's toy. Shoulders are on balls, and at the shoulder as well as the ball there's another, it's like 2 balls in one. There's an inside ball and an out ball. The outside ball isn't really a ball joint, it's really a swivel and pin, but it acts like kind of the way your shoulders can rotate in and out at the chest, sort of a shrugging forward. It's really poseable. And you've got an upper arm rotation, double jointed elbow, rotation at the wrist in 2 different directions. It looks like a ball, it's not really a ball, but you've got a ball-like capacity to move there. The neck can go backwards and forwards on a swivel. And it is also, on top of that, on a ball, so you have a full range of motion on the head. It's reasonably tight, can hold the weight of this huge thing in place. The waist has a rotation and side to side movement. Now again, it's not really a ball. It looks like one big ball. It's actually two separate balls plug into this middle section, so it's like a double jointed double ball waist. So even though it's a little bit limited, you still get amazing motion when it comes to being able to bend backwards and forwards. Try to catch that light again. I think that's it. Beautiful blue eyes. Let's have a look at some of the features. So far, while I've been showing this figure, you'll notice I've been holding the back of her legs continuously. Now that's because these little stands that plug in here, which are supposed to stabilize the figure so you can pose it without having to hold it, really don't work. So I'm going to put this down and we're going to try to stand up. No. And you would think that with this huge counterweight pulling her backwards, she would not be falling forwards, it'd be the other way around, falling backwards. But it's not the case. There's a lot of weight on the front side of her center of gravity, and it just pulls forward and always results in her falling forward. The table that I'm on is pretty flat. It's not much. I mean, I can't measure any lean. If you put a marble on this table, it wouldn't roll away. So it's not my table which is causing her to fall over. It's just a very unstable figure. And it does have the base included, so it's not that big a deal. When you buy this, you know going in that she doesn't have feet, so it's pretty obvious that the figure itself isn't going to be able to stand up without some kind of support. So let's pull these off, seeing as how they do nothing. If you want to pose this without anything in those spots, it does come with these little plastic covers to hide the hole, which is a good thing. But right now I'm going to show you the wheels. Now let me plug these in. In the cartoon, on a few occasions, especially at the beginning of the show, you see Drossel can't really walk properly. She's learning to walk because she has no feet. So she has these kind of training wheels that help her form a tripod and scoot around in tripod mode. Kind of like this. So there you go, that's her. Oh, and she hangs, always her arms are hanging down. Let's get it right. She'll scoot around just like that. Whee! So that's one way of posing Drossel. The other way of posing is using the stand. So let me get this back to its normal position and then we'll have a look at the stand. The Drossel figure comes with this stand. To me it looks like it's designed to be a tiled floor. It looks like where she would be standing in the lab or something like that. On the side there are some pillars, some kind of techno detail. Nice chrome paint. It's pretty nice to look at, it's high quality. Underneath, this is the battery case. You have to depress this little pin with some kind of, let's see if I can poke it with this. Push this in and rotate. Can't do it, hang on. This is where the battery goes. It's a bit hard to do it on camera. I need No, I can't do it on camera. I need to have my hands in a better position. But anyway, that just turns around and you can slot batteries in there. Here's the button which activates the sound chip, and this separate tile at the back can peel off, revealing this little hole. That hole is where the robot arm attachment that grasps Drossel can plug in. Now, the first time I plugged, here it is, the robot arm attachment. The first time I plugged this into this hole, I don't think that I put it in far enough because no sound would come out. See that? No sound. But if I get this and shove it as hard as I can right into the bottom, should make a noise now. So somewhere underneath that hole there is a switch that needs to be depressed when this slots in, and if you don't get it the whole way in, it won't make a sound. When you first buy this, it's very tight and it might be a bit scary for you to push it that hard in because it feels like it's not meant to go, you might break it off, but it is meant to go. If you don't do it, you won't get any sound. So anyway, put that down. The base comes with two hands. There's this hand, which is a fixed shape, mainly for just grabbing Drossel around the waist, and it comes with this hand, which has movable pincers for holding probably the rose, maybe, I'm not sure. So anyway, right now I'm going to use the fixed hand, just plug it into the end here. Now if you look at some of the detail on this arm, it's got a lot of little tamper graphs. To me it looks like German, so little German writing on the pistons here, on the hydraulics, on the engine blocks. Seems strange to me that Japanese figure would have this German labelling on it. Maybe the reputation of sort of precision, high quality industrial design is what they're going with there. That's why they put the German on there. Or maybe in the future nationality is not so important, and so we can have our Japanese Drossel and our German robot arm in the same continuity. This little piston here isn't real, it's just for show. It actually looks more real than the pistons inside Drossel, but it's not, it doesn't move. Drossel's ones do move, but look plain black. This nice painted chrome and white piston is just for show. This piece on the back moves, I don't know what it is. It's even on a ball joint. It has a slight bit of orbiting motion there. I don't know what that's for. Haven't figured that one out yet. So anyway, the pincer just snaps around Drossel's waist, and there you go. Now she can finally stand up. Let's have a listen to some of the sounds. Oh. Let's start that sound bit again. Okay, so it is a bit slippery, and even though it holds her, she can still fall over. What can I say? I mean, nobody expects that a toy with no feet is going to have an easy time standing up. So I'm just going to hold her foot while I do it. So let's listen to the sounds. Debo debo dokuda. I don't know what it means, but I think that sounds cool. I like that one too. Nippo Nibo Hung. Okay, so that's all the sounds. Let's see how good the stand is. What about one leg? Yeah, strong enough to hold her on one leg. But watch what happens with a bit of vibration. Whoa. Whoa! Oh no. So the little ratchets can't hold her whole weight, just drags it right down. But still, if you buy this primarily for a display piece, it's good enough for a display piece. And look at that. That's not bad. If you can lock her foot into the little ridge there where the tile was. Okay, let's have a look at what else Drossel comes with. After the stand, the next most exciting accessory, well, the stand's not really exciting at all, but the next biggest accessory is her head. So let's pull off this head. Oh, you pulled off my head, I can't believe you did that. Have a look at her second head. Her bookish head. I'm guessing that's why she's got glasses. In one of my other figures, my Figma Drossel, she comes with a huge book like what's in the show, so maybe these glasses are her reading glasses. Anyway, it's a very narrow plastic pin that holds on the ball for the ball joint, so you wouldn't want to do this too many times because it might just shear off, but it goes on pretty nicely. These things give the impression of maybe a head scarf or hair or something like that. It's very nicely detailed, tamper-graphed all over with little swirly patterns, all of them crisp and separate from one another, not like on some of the Chinese knockoff Figma Drossels. I mean, I have a Chinese knockoff Figma Drossel of not the Fireball but the previous version, and some of her tampos are bleeding into each other or smudged. But this Bandai Chogokin, very crisp and separate. The little painted on details of pins or bolts or whatever they are. Even some tampoed on German writing on the front of her forehead. These wing units, if you look at the back, contain jet engines. So again, on the previous version of this, she came, not the Fireball, the previous version, she came with hair bun rocket engine wings. So her flying gimmick was powered by the head. So I'm guessing that these jet engines are maybe an evolution of that idea. I think she looks a little bit less special with this head, to be honest. It's too normal. I like the huge protuberance, or whatever you want to call it, of this one. I would be happier if this head detailing was an attachment for this head and not a separate head, because I like this big thing sticking out the back. That's one of the main reasons I bought this. That plus the thighs gives it a very unique design. Apart from the head, she has this blue, purplish blue rose in a glass bottle. I don't watch the show that much, so I don't know why she has this rose in a bottle, but unfortunately there is no easy way for her to hold this. Her wrist joints aren't really strong enough to hold the weight of forcing it through her hand. They just fall off. I don't want to do it here because I'm sick of reshooting this, putting her hands back on, but mainly I think the stand could be used to hold this with the pincer hand for display purposes, because unless you're going to pose her with her... Oh, here we go. The hands pop off a little bit easy on this figure. And she can hold it like that. But it's not really holding, it's more like balancing. And she comes with this practice sword. I don't use it as a sword, I don't like it as a sword. I stick it upside down like this, and she's like some kind of dandy with a walking stick. So for me it's a pointy walking stick. Maybe we'll have a look at some of the hand gestures she has on the separate pieces for the hands. First we have a fist, just a basic punching fist, not capable of holding anything, there's no hole in the middle. Then we have sort of thumb pinching fingers. Some of these might actually be sign language, I'm not sure. I've heard people say that, I don't know any sign language. But they're still cool posing for posing. 2-finger pointing. Opposite hand of the pinching one. Spread fingers. Another 2-finger pointing, the opposite one. A sort of classic gun holding, well, not really, the finger's not out at the front, a grasping hand, grabbing hold of stuff. An opposite fist. Maybe a peace sign. And the opposite peace sign. On the one she's using is another grasping one there, and another spread open there. All in all, this is a really fantastic robot to have in your collection. How many robots can sit cross-legged while holding a rose in a glass bottle like this? I mean, that's awesome. Just look at it. I think the way to get this, at least at the time when I bought it, is definitely off eBay. I had pre-orders for this before it came out, before it was widely available, and all of those were more just for the pre-order than what I paid for this shipped. So, and I don't really think that I even got that good a deal. You could probably get this for maybe 100, 110 shipped if you look around, instead of the 120 shipped that I paid. I mean, if you're going to get this off some of the American online retailers, by the time you get it shipped, you're going to be looking at something like $140. $140 is a little bit high for this. There's not that much bulk in it, so even though it's engineered fantastically and looks beautiful, I wouldn't be happy paying $140, and that's why I cancelled my pre-orders and bought this at the cheaper price I got it for on eBay at the time. Get it. It is worth having. You won't regret it. You won't regret the thunder hips that some people have been complaining about. It's just the style of the toy. I mean, it's what makes it unique. You can't have everything looking the same, and the hips on this is one of the things that make it special. You don't want to lose that. The last Drossel figure was a very girly figure, and it satisfied that aesthetic. And if you're lucky enough to have that, you don't need another toy satisfying the same aesthetic. This one does what it does, and it does it well. If you want something else, if you want the other look, get the other toy, but you won't regret getting this one. I think it grows on you. Buy it and see. If you don't like it, sell it. Anyway, that's it. That's the end of my review.